it's only appropriate this time to recognize Dr. Fisicaro, our superintendent. He makes all the big decisions and supports myself as an athletic director, our students, the Hall of Fame, therefore putting all of our student athletes and coaches in a position for success. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our superintendent, Dr. Fisicaro. Our banquet is an opportunity to celebrate the very best in our community and firmly place the stories of this year's inductees into the Hall of Fame history books. It is so with great confidence that I acknowledge today's inductees, both individually and together. They present a collective tribute to our highest aspirations. Every one of our honorees has contributed to our highest aspirations. Every one of those aspirations and to the vision of the high school sports that is universally shared. The vision of young men and women engaged in honest, courageous, dedicated, and purposeful competition. Today we compliment your achievements, past and present, and we offer our sincere wishes for a great afternoon, full of warm, wonderful memories and a tremendous future. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the program.
Hopefully the dinner's still going to be warm. We got to that. Sorry. I am going to move on because we have a very important team to announce. Perhaps those teams that Tim mentioned will one day gain the recognition earned by the 1991 Colonial Conference Championship golf team. Their perfect 14-0 season commenced a 3-year dynasty coached by the memorable and inimitable Miller Preston. They clinched a title that had eluded us since 1972. Driving in from fair and far away, members of that team with us today are Rick Preston, Mike Donahue, Kevin Eckhart, John Sampona, Brian McKernan, Mike D'Antonio, Jeff Thuzitis, Brian Allen. And here to speak on behalf of their experiences today, I understand we have everyone. So come on up, please.
Good afternoon, Haddon Township Hawks athletic community. Thank you so much for sharing this special day with us today. We are incredibly grateful and honored by this recognition to be the 2023 team inductee into the Haddon Township Hall of Fame. We would definitely like to a sincere thank you to the nominating committee for selecting our team. We'd also like to take this opportunity to congratulate our fellow inductees, and we can't wait to hear all your individual stories later in the program. Thank you very much. So it's not lost on us at all how prestigious this is. This is the 20th Hall of Fame. 20 teams have gone into this Hall of Fame. By my rough math, which Haddon Township prepared me pretty well to handle, roughly 600 some teams probably have come since '66. And to think that our team is one of the 20 is just really special. So we are having a great time this weekend, maybe a little bit too much fun last night, but you know, there's a pub crawl in Haddon now, so what are we going to do? It's been great to reminisce. It's been great to get back together with my teammates. It was such a fun year, such a fun 3 or 4 years for me. But just the memories are precious. We take them very seriously. It's been great to reminisce. And we're just going to share a few stories today from the teammates. So here we go.
Thanks, Rick. So, yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. This means a lot to us because team golf in high school is a little different than most of the other teams we talk about here at this event. None of you ever saw us play. No one could. We were the only team that had to take a bus to our practice. We were away. You couldn't come and walk on the golf course and watch it. So we were the only ones who witnessed what we did. It was team golf. There's 6 players who start against the other team, 6 players. Each of those are 6 individual matches worth a point. We played match play, which meant you played the 9 holes. Each hole is worth 1. Whoever got the most holes wins the match. Keeping that in mind, every 6 players counted, right? We had a lot of depth. We had a lot of guys come in from the class of '93. We had a lot more depth than the rest of the conference, and that made a lot of the difference. What was challenging for us, and for anybody in this team sport, is you don't know the score. Okay, very different from other sports. You don't know what's going on in the other matches as you're walking around the golf course. I like to kind of equate it to if you're in a free throw contest and you don't know what the other guys on your team are doing, you just know you have to make as many as you can. No one's playing defense against you. You can't play defense against your opponent. And we knew early on we had a good chance to have a undefeated season, if not perfect season. So that pressure was with us every time. So you've got a 2-foot putt, it's an easy putt. It's not when you're thinking that way. It was a great opportunity. Thanks again for the honor and the recognition and the opportunity to have those memories. It was a great time.
How you doing? At that time in my life, I went by Brian Perky, so some of you might remember me a little bit more by that name. Playing on a competitive golf team is an interesting endeavor in that you're not observed by other folks at school. But let me tell you something, the rivalries between us were quite intense. And some of those bus rides on the way home certainly reflected that. And I'll never forget some stories, maybe not shared in such a public setting, that we shared amongst ourselves. So, this is McKernan.
Hi everybody, my name is Brian McKernan, and it's great to be here and see so many familiar faces from the past, teachers, family, friends. Thank you. I'm humbled to be part of such a prestigious event and a fantastic team. I, unlike the rest of this team, really never played golf until 1990 when the amazing Miller Preston and his son Ricky kind of taught me how to play. So I will tell one of those stories that probably shouldn't be told from the golf course, and that was really the year before. At Westwood Golf Club, the first hole was a par 5, and you know, some of the guys were on the hole, and some people were about midway through, and I was getting ready to tee off, and we were given Titleist golf balls with the number that corresponded to the position that you were on the team. So, you know, Ricky was like number 1 or 2. I was always 6 or 7 or 8, and that day I was an 8 ball. So, you know, I didn't know the concept of form, what that was, or what it meant, so I swacked the ball, and I was a pretty big guy, and I could hit it, but I didn't really hit it very straight. And Ricky was standing up by this tree to the hook side, and standing there looking like this at the guys on the green, and sure enough, I'm watching the ball, and Jeff Uzaitis was next to me, I think Perk, you were with me as well. And all of a sudden, I'm like, and sure enough, you just see Ricky immediately drops down. I finally get up to the green, we kind of pulled up his shorts, and there, engraved with ripples in his, close to his rear end, was an 8. And I'm like, Titleist 8, man. He's like, anyway, so yeah, that was a good story, and I'll leave it at that. It's great to see you all. Thank you. I enjoy being here. Take care.
Hi, I'm Jeff Uzaitis. I haven't seen pretty much any of you for about 30 years, so it's great being back in town. Actually, some of the best memories I have are the rides to and from the course. So getting off at 295, it's wonderful having been raised in New Jersey. I can actually drive here. But there were a few times where we may have broken a few traffic laws, either going there or coming back. It's the only time that I've ever actually stopped dead in the middle of 295 to get yelled at. But so I thank everybody here it was a great 4 years of golfing. It was the best time to go from statistics class, from wrestling to statistics to the golf course with Mr. Preston. It was a great 4 years of my life. Thanks everybody for the opportunity, and hope the current golf team is having as much fun as we did. Pass it along.
Hi, Kevin Eckhart. I'm just going to be real quick and say thank you to the committee. Special thanks to Mr. Preston putting up with all of our antics as whatever 15, 16, 17-year-old boys who just want to play golf. It was great. Thanks to these guys. It was our only team that at least a few of us had been on where we actually won. So it was a great experience compared compared to our other sports teams in those years. So yeah, so thank you. Thanks guys. Thanks Mr. President.
Hey everybody, it's John Sampona. So after freshman year, Mike, Kevin, and myself, we were all like playing baseball at that time. And I think for us, I mean, we decided as a group that we were going to go ahead and make this commitment. And I think that was the best choice that we ever made. So thank you.
This is great because I'm the last one to talk. So the thing about sports, why we're all here, it's about fun. If you're not having fun in life and you're not having fun in sports, why do it, right? And this weekend's been so much fun, and to see Coach Preston, I mean, you know, everyone knows what he's meant to this community, what he's meant to the wrestling program, what he's meant to us, and like it's really powerful to be back with all the guys, and you understand, you know, pro athletes when they get back together, and we've had such a great weekend, and all these young kids, it's about having fun, right? Because life is quick, life is fast, and seeing everyone is really powerful, but we had so much fun. Playing golf was not like playing baseball or soccer or basketball. It was fun. And tonight's been a lot of fun, and this weekend was a lot of fun. So I just urge everyone, you know, because you're not going to go play college, you're not usually going to make it, but you gotta have fun in life. So this was so much fun, and this event is so much fun, so thank you.
Sorry, I promise to make this quick. Just want to share one final memory. It was a great memory for us. When we beat Gateway, one of the last matches of the season to clinch the conference. I have a memory that's so vivid. I played first man. We'd finished our match, and I'd gone back to see how 5 and 6 were doing because you know there was a lot on the line that day. And we found out, you know, Mike and Brian had basically won their match, so we won the match. And I just remember running down 9 fairway, and I came over to the sit and I went like this. And everybody on the green was like, yes, and we knew we won it. So it was such a cool time, such a vivid memory, and again, we just had so much fun back then. It was very competitive. It wasn't just fun, especially if you were playing first man. But no, we had a great time. Thank you all so much for this honor again. It's been a great time to reconnect with us as teammates. And we got one last thing that we're going to do as a team. All right, ready? Yep. 3, 2, 1.
Walking, would you guys just follow over this way to the table where Mr. George is? Thanks. Mr. George is presenting the team with their lifetime passes and also a nice desk plaque. Thank you, 1991 golf. At this time, table by table, our Leto staff will guide us to, sorry for the golf joke, greener pastures. And that's the buffet. So, enjoy. To move on to the next phase of our evening, our afternoon. And this is a particular favorite portion of the Hall of Fame. And it's because we want to honor the students who are with us now and show them that what they're doing is really helping what we can do here happen. So, first award, Tim will speak to this in a moment. First award is Tom Curley Award, which we began a few years ago. And the Tom Curley Award is a really significant one to us. The Curley family is a very significant family to us here in the Hall of Fame and in Manhattan Township. And I did neglect to mention earlier tonight that one of the people that we've lost this year was Tom's daughter, Maureen Curley, who is a former inductee of the Hall of Fame. And if I could request just a moment of silence in her memory, it'd be really, really kind of you. Thank you. So with that, I would turn this over to Tim, who's going to be handing out scholarships that are part of our Hall of Fame annual bequests to people that I think they will enjoy them. And Tim.
So, I'm a former offensive lineman, so if you feel like you need to go back up to the buffet for a second round, please do. You won't offend me at all. I'll actually be like jealous that I'm not in line with you. So I highly recommend the outside cuts with a slight bit of horseradish.
That's what I have.
The Tom Curley Outstanding Contribution Award goes to two tremendous athletes. You've already heard their names several times, because they're part of the Haddon Township legacy. They saw what the athletic experience was and the expectation that it was going to be. And they rose to the level, and they took it even to a higher level. So at this time, I'd like to bring the first recipient. If Megan Lex could come up and stand on the podium behind me. Now what's really neat, if you thought you saw Megan twice tonight, you did not. You saw her sister Sarah, and we're going to speak about her after this. Megan's different than Sarah because nobody in this room could catch Megan if they tried. She's a member of the 2021-22. 2021-2022 all conference teams, all South Jersey, all Group 1, and for cross country. She's part of 3 sectional championship winning teams, 2020, 2021, and 2022 indoor tracks. That's 2 cross country, 1 indoor track. She has 2 individual sectional titles of her own, where she was the #1 in the section. Tremendous accomplishment in cross country. And she has 4 of those in indoor track. She's the president of the Haddon Township Honor Society. She's committed to run at St. Bonaventure, and they are going to be ecstatic when they truly find out the tremendous character and drive and passion for athletics that Megan Lex has. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Megan Lex. I told her that I had somebody, former cross-country guy in the back corner that would catch her if she ran away. Next up, the story I will always remember about this young lady during COVID was we were on complete lockdown, and I was driving back and forth to and from the school to figure things out and do the remote learning thing and all. And I would see her out front of her house. She chalked workout patterns in the sidewalk. Then I would drive by the turf, and when she wasn't working out in front of her house on the sidewalk, she was training kids on the turf. Like, she was calling me and emailing and saying, will the turf be open tomorrow? I have a couple soccer players that I want to train. I said, this is awesome. Without further ado, Sarah Wiedemann. Both Sarah and Megan share the similarities that they are three-sport varsity athletes, a common tradition at Haddon Township that hasn't gone by the wayside. Even last year, we had 40 three-sport athletes. We're on pace this year for the high 30s, maybe 39 I'm looking at. But more about Sarah. She earned 8 all-conference awards between soccer, basketball, and track. She's earned 10 varsity letters. She was named the top 20 soccer player in the South region of New Jersey. She's a 2-time New Jersey Soccer Coaches Association All-State honoree. She's a member of the South Jersey Group 1 Soccer Championship team. She's a 2-time captain of the soccer and basketball teams. She's a member of the record-holding 4x200 that I talked about earlier. No, I'm sorry, 4x400. She's a member of the Haddon Township Honor Society. 2-time female representative of HTHS Town Basketball. What that means is, if she was the representative for HTHS Town Basketball, all those little girls learning how to dribble, she organized the entire thing. And she organized the officials, the coaches, and was a tremendous asset to continue the strong basketball tradition we have at Haddon Township. She will continue her soccer career at Wagner College, and she'll study nursing, and she'll be excellent. The last thing I have to say about Sarah is the legacy she leaves. She entered into a soccer program that was a little bit of, if you were an upcoming rising freshman, the upperclassmen may not have wanted you to be as good as you were, but her, along with Sydney Farnham, changed the culture. And now they embrace the strong freshmen, and they make them better, and they make the entire team better. And that's part of Sarah's legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Woodman. I hope I don't get to find the wrong page. Okay. The next 2 students were chosen to receive the Bart Payne Hall of Fame Award. Those of us who knew Bart, and that probably includes 90% of the room, know what a great honor this is. Our first Bart Payne Memorial Scholarship recipient is Lily Santamaro. And yes, similar to Megan and Sarah, you've heard her name repeatedly because she is completely interwoven her name into Haddon Township athletics through the record books and her team play. She was a field hockey, winter track, and a spring track standout athlete. She holds 3 individual and 3 relay track and field records. She won the Group 1 title, as I said earlier, the 55-meter indoor state champ. She's a 3-sport athlete for all 4 years of her varsity career. She qualified and competed at the 2022 New Balance National Meet. She has received the Most Valuable Player and an Outstanding Accomplishment Award for Haddon Township Track and Field. And while balancing athletics, she's also the Vice President of the Haddon Township Senior Class. She's a member of the HTHS Honor Society, along with many other clubs, and takes multiple AP courses. Lily Santamaro, when that blue and gold team from across Newton Creek brought their field hockey team in, Lily Santamaro made sure she knocked down their toughest player to say to the rest of the team, girls, get behind me, because nobody's stopping us. Remember that? That was awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Lily Santamaro, stand out to the match. Now, our next recipient is unable to be here, Luke Chad. If you haven't heard his name already, you will continue to hear his name. He is actually participating in a soccer game this afternoon and was unable to make it. I could read through his accolades, are a full page down. Number 1, he was an All-American this year, All-Region, All-State. He's absolutely equal athlete as he is human being. He started and he's the leader of our Fellowship for Christian Athletes at Haddon Township. He's a member of the Honor Society. His grades are off the chart. And what I can say about Luke, besides him having a turf field in his own backyard for practice, which is awesome, he makes others around him better players. His level was head and shoulders. He was the best player on the field. But he had a way of speaking and playing with to bring everybody's level up without condescending and without putting people down and making the team always the priority. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Luke Chapman. All right, so I'm going to say someone's name, and it is not Megan coming to the podium. It is going to be her sister, Sarah. Now, look, I pride myself on knowing the students' names, and it was difficult to be able to split that, but now it's easy. Megan runs. Sarah swims. Sarah rows crew. It's that simple, people. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Lex. Sarah's a 4-year member of the varsity swim team. She's a member of the Haddon Township Rowing Club. She's captain of the crew team for the last 2 seasons. Last year, she helped her boat win a state championship, and they moved to compete in the Scholastic Nationals, where they placed 7th. She's a member of the Environmental Club, and Mr. Bill in the back, his Green Thumbs Club. She's a member of HT Honor Society. Her community service for the Bart Payne Community Service Award. Her experiences include volunteering with the Animal Welfare Association and Matchdog Rescue, delivering meals through the programs, dinners to doorsteps, volunteering her time to give swim lessons to younger children, and tutoring through the Haddon Township Honor Society. Ladies and gentlemen, Bart Payne Community Service Award winner, Sarah Lex. The next 2 student athletes have been selected to receive the prestigious Bill Schmidt Award. Mr. Bill, how about a nod of the hat in the back? I could go on and on about that man right there and his impact on Haddon Township. And I can also go on and on about the students he picks year after year and the amount of time he takes to pick those students. This year, the female recipient for the Bill Schmidt Scholarship Award is one of the most courageous and contagious positive sparks in our school. You can't be around her without feeling her energy and her positive nature. Ladies and gentlemen, Brady Sullivan. Brady played field hockey and lacrosse for us. She was part of that team on October 19th that went over to Haddonfield and beat that team in overtime, removed a 10-year drought. She says that was one of her proudest moments. She was first team all-conference for field hockey. She was captain of the 2022 field hockey team. She won the Anne Marie Lynch Memorial Spirit Award for field hockey this season. She talks about beating Haddonfield again for the first time in 2 decades in the 2022 season, being coached by her parents her entire lacrosse career. In the back are Mick and Julie Sullivan, and Julie's the head coach and Mick is the assistant. And she says she is so excited to take the time to take what she has learned from Haddon Township to the next level. She will play field hockey and study physical therapy at Ithaca College next year. She says that she's so grateful for the friendships and the memories that Haddon Township has given me. I will miss it so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Brady Sullivan. Our next Bill Schmidt Scholarship recipient. And I don't know if there was a common thread, but this person is a contagious spark also. At times, he's got the maturity of a 40-year-old man, and Mr. Quill would agree. Excellent conversations. And at other times you look him in the eye on the field and you do not want to compete against him. He's got fire in his eye. He's the ultimate teammate. He plays at an intense level and he brings the fire. Ladies and gentlemen, Grant Lauren. He really was the ultimate teammate. He'll talk about how he was the second team All-Conference in 2021 and first team All-Conference Soccer in 2022 and first team All-South Jersey this past season. And he was a All-Stater, and he was captain of the soccer team, and he was captain of the basketball team. 3-year starter on soccer, 3-year starter on basketball, key member of the sectional championships, 3-peat boys soccer sectional championships. But what he won't say is, when they won the state championship, and he was injured on the sideline, those boys paused, and they took the state championship trophy, and they said, give it to Graham. And Graham took the trophy and held it like this. And we'll all never forget it. Everybody that knows soccer will never forget that picture. Ladies and gentlemen, Graham Long. All right, our last Hall of Fame recipient for tonight is the Guaranteed Rate Award supported by former Haddon Township High School student athlete Nick Mink. Goes to a tireless worker both on and off the field. This young man brings the energy of former NFL player Ray Lewis. In practice and in games, he brings Ray Lewis type energy where he can get in his team faces and he can shake them up to get them to play at their best level possible. He holds the expectation here and has his teammates meet it. And it's only through that football team was able to have their first winning season in several years, to have a 6-4 record. Without further ado, Jairo Padin. So I know that Reverend Thatcher's been watching a lot of basketball for the past 3 days, and I was also. And the one game, I can't remember who it was, but the whole team read the book, The Energy Bus. And you know, in the Energy Bus, they talked about the Chief Energy Officer, the CEO of the team, who's bringing the energy. And they had a sign on the chair that said CEO. Well, I could have put that on your chair because when he's dialed in, he is all go. And he brings the energy and lifts his teammates. He's an all-conference D-back, he's an all-conference running back, 4-year starter for football, 2-year captain of the football team. He has dabbled in many other sports to try and find his way. He's done lacrosse, he's done some wrestling, and they've all made him better. He was nominated for the Phil Simms North-South game, and he was a Gridiron Player of the Week. He's going to continue his football career at Wilkes University, and they are going to be really proud to see what they have underneath the face mask. Ladies and gentlemen, Jairo Padin. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to do a picture of the student athletes. If you are a parent or guardian in the crowd, you want to take a picture of student athletes, please come up now, and then we'll move on with the program. Thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Congratulations to our student athletes. We're going to move on to the individual 2023 inductees. From the 1960s and 1970s, we have Dawn Kennedy. Dawn was a three-sport athlete in field hockey, swimming, and softball. Once at Camden County College, she rounded out her resume by joining and excelling in basketball as well. Here at Haddon Township, her 3-year play on the varsity field hockey team earned her all-conference and second-team all-group. Memorably, she led her softball team in 1979 to a Group 2 state championship, and from her sophomore through her senior year was named first team all-conference, first team all-group, and first team all-South Jersey. Her reputation also earned her an impressive honorable mention to the All-Century South Jersey softball team. Please welcome Dawn.
Hello, good afternoon. Anybody that knows me, this is not my forte. So I will keep it short and sweet. Thank you all for showing up. It's wonderful. And then thank you for being here, because it makes me feel a lot better. That's where my softball, any sporting event started, is with Lynn. 7th and 8th grade field hockey was a little bit of a challenge at the time, but we all got through it and we all persevered, and it was a wonderful experience. Thank you for making it so. Softball, field hockey can't go on without many accolades. I had a speech prepared from here to the floor. Can't take that time because there's so many other people to go through. We have a great program here at Haddon Township High School, and if you have a slight doubt that you have anything better than excellence, you have the people that you just saw here, and there's plenty more to come. So thank you all very much. My family, thank you for coming out. And thank you all very much.
Congratulations. For the 1980s, our inductee this year is Tim Sheehan, an exemplary individual and talented athlete. Tim's cleats left many marks on Haddon Township fields and a few other places. His energy, heart, and knowledge continue to touch new generations of athletes, and gratefully so. For Tim's athletic background, included being team captain and MVP in soccer as a senior, making first team all-conference and all-group 2, and receiving all-South Jersey recognition. He was also captain and MVP his senior year in baseball, when he again was named to the all-conference and all-group 2 first teams, received all-South Jersey recognition, and was selected to play in the Carpenter Cup. From Haddon Township, Tim went on with a 4-year baseball scholarship to Mount St. Mary's, where his gifts continue to be realized. Tim Sheehan.
Well, I was certainly never known for speed, as you can see by my approach to the dais here. First, I'd like to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It's quite an honor to be up here to receive this award. I'd like to congratulate my fellow nominees for being inducted as well. and thank the Hall of Fame Committee for this honor. Preparing my remarks for today, so many of my thoughts have been on my dad. How much I wish he could be here today, and what he might say about this whole event. One particular memory offers a possible response. After a successful baseball game in my teens, pitching for the win, a bunch of strikeouts, maybe a few hits, my mom was thrilled, congratulating me. On the way home in the car, she presses my dad for a reaction, and he says, "I don't understand why you can't throw strikes all the time." I pitch batting practice, Steve, and I throw strikes the entire time. Instant humility. It's important to note, though, there was no disappointment or disapproval in his tone. I wasn't hurt in any way. It was just his objective thought of the game. To him, the positives of the game were obvious and didn't necessarily need celebrating. I would expect a similar response today and be thrilled to hear it. My dad deserves so much of the credit for my Haddon Township athletic experience. And looking back, I realized my HT career really began long before I took the mound for Mr. Morgan's freshman baseball team, or learned Mr. Lamb's proper layup technique, thumb down with a spin, that anybody remembers. It really began as a 3 or 4-year-old with my dad bringing me to the games with my brother. I can remember sitting on the floor in a packed boys' gym, we called it the boys' gym back then, watching Kevin Kelly and Mark Carlitos, or marching into a football game behind the band, with those drums going, to see those great teams of the Tom Curley era. I could see my dad so clearly giving Mr. Curley a cigar after a win, or hearing his voice come through the loudspeakers, the voice of the Hawk, the original voice of the Hawk. My brother Brendan and I were at so many of those baseball games as well, having a catch on the side of the field, watching Frank Trotman's teams, John Walter, Steve Flacco, Kevin Madden, Phil D'Angelo. All of these young men seemed like giants to me at the time, and I couldn't wait for my turn. My brother felt the same, I'm sure. It would be quite an understatement to say sports had a prominent place in the Sheehan family. It was a constant topic of discussion at the dinner table, probably to the dismay of some of my family members. The conversations as I remember them, though, didn't usually revolve around things like technique or skill. They were more about how to compete, how to behave, how to really play the game. As the youngest of 9 children, I was uniquely positioned to benefit from the experience of my brothers and sisters, to listen in on their conversations about their games, their experiences on the field, whether it was watching Jerry throw the javelin, or his unfortunately brief football career, or Eileen or Trish on the field hockey field, or Michael as a 3-sport athlete, and one of the first great soccer players at Haddon Township. A role model for me, for sure. In all of their baseball, basketball, and softball games in between, I was exposed to those sports and their talents at a very young age from the beginning. And with Brendan always at my side. With him, I had a partner, a teammate, a competitor, and at times an antagonist, to put into action what we watched, developed our own skills and talents. I'm very proud of that tradition of Sheehan's at Haddon Township and their involvement in the HT athletic program. Always following the direction and example of our father, giving our all, competing hard but with humility and with respect for opponents, coaches, and the game. It gives me great joy to see my sons compete for Haddon Township, Matthew, Timothy, Joseph, and Thomas, and my nieces and nephews as well, to watch their success and see them continue that tradition. It wasn't only family, though, that helped me to succeed. I was very lucky. I had a group of friends who loved sports as much as I did growing up. And I look over and see them all here today, which is just incredible. Jeff Lee, Matt Shulo, Jason Kitch, Walt Ifey, Larry McLaughlin, Rob Linefloor. These are the guys I grew up playing with. We spent so much of our time playing sports, whether it was stickball or wiffle ball, street hockey, pickup basketball, tackle football at a Holy Savior Convent lawn or at the Virginia Avenue Market vacant lot. They were great times. We were always competing. And as the first group of kids to experience youth soccer in Haddon Township, all the way to senior year, we put together one of the greatest teams in school history, proud to say at that time. It was the memories created with these guys that made my high school experience so special. Memories we still share today, every time we get together, which we are all so lucky to do on a regular basis. I'm so touched that so many of you are here today and able to enjoy this moment with me. I'd like to thank them for those great memories, for helping me to succeed on the athletic field, and for always being a source of encouragement and inspiration. Thank you. I'd also like to thank Mr. Chuck Roney, my baseball coach in high school. The first coach who really helped me develop technique to pitch successfully and was such a positive influence on me. And of course, I have to thank my family for their support for my athletic career. I was so lucky to have such a team behind me. My brothers and sisters always there, traveling to my games, nursing me back to health during the difficult injuries. In particular, I'd like to thank my brother Brendan. In a Hall of Fame, all his own as a brother. Excuse me. Without his constant influence, I'm certain I would never have been as successful on the athletic field. And to my father, again, I wish so much that he could have been here today to share this moment. I know he would have enjoyed it. He wouldn't have made too big a fuss, as I mentioned, but he would have been thrilled with the recognition. And while not always vocal in his support, I know there's no doubt that it was there. I felt it. I knew what he thought of my athletic ability and how much he believed in me. And if my mom pressed him today, I know he would just say, I'm proud of you. Of course, no one's been more important to my athletic career than my biggest fan, my mother. Her unwavering belief in my ability as an athlete, her encouragement to try new sports, always being there to cheer me on, from C minor all the way to Emmitsburg. Always there to provide calm and comfort when my temper would get the best of me. She's still my biggest fan, and as I get older, I can't help but to wonder if I'm worthy of all of her admiration, but I can for sure say it and tell you, Mom, I appreciate it more than ever. I was blessed to have some athletic ability, and I'm very grateful for it, but my true blessings are the friends and family I see before me tonight. Without them, their inspiration and support, this honor would be meaningless. So thank you. Thanks.
Mr. George always takes care of the injured. Thanks, Tim. For the 1990s, our recipient is Marisa and the governor. Another former Haddon Township athlete returning to home court. Marisa Hand McGovern is one of the elite basketball players to score 1,000 points. She was a four-year starter, and as a senior, led her team to the Group 1 sectional title. She was named to the All-South Jersey squad and played in the All-Star tournament. Minus the 1,000 points, but tallying most goals and assists, Marisa did the same thing in field hockey, leading her team to the Group 1 sectional championship. She attended Syracuse University and played Division I field hockey. Let's welcome Marisa.
Shorter. Easier. Even with heels. Like some of my other inductees, I'm not a huge fan of being in front of big groups, but I'd like to thank, first of all, the executive committee for this incredible recognition and nomination, to to the Hall of Fame. I'd like to extend special congratulations also to my fellow inductees. So to be successful, I think at almost anything, you need some talent, determination, and a lot of help along the way. One of my greatest memories of sports goes way back to when I was very young, when my dad would play ice hockey actually in a men's league. And that league would play very early in the morning. Most of my memories were that it was very dark outside. I could remember the smell of the pre-dawn hours, but I really jumped at any chance I could get to be woken up and go along with him to those games and practices, just with the hopes of getting on the ice for a few moments to go around with the puck with his teammates or maybe some of the other kids whose parents were there. But soon after that, I realized that ice hockey wasn't really in the cards for me, even though I may have wanted it to be. It was before the time of women really playing ice hockey, especially around here. So I had to find some other ways to exercise my competitive spirit. So I was going around the neighborhood, mostly climbing trees to the top, being told by neighbors that I was too high and too close to the wires. That led me then to come down and play with my friends, mostly street hockey and basketball at Doggy Island. After that, I was involved in, of course, all the HTHS organized sports that I could be involved in, whether it was field hockey or basketball, softball, swimming, basically any sport I could do, I just wanted to be involved in. So I consider myself really quite lucky to have been surrounded by people who believed in me. My coaches and my parents, of course, encouraged me to chase my dreams. The willingness that they had to give their time and their support was never ending. I just want to mention a few people, some of which were in this room, who really positively influenced my journey. First, Gail Shelley, in the back over there. She probably doesn't know this, but when I was in elementary school, she was playing basketball at Haddon Township, and her team was quite good. And so we started to go watch them play. My friends and I would make posters, and I kind of started to stalk her, actually. I would make my dad drive me around to the local basketball courts just to see if I could find out if she was shooting somewhere, and I would get out and hope that she might be around, and I would be shooting at the same court as her. So honestly, I saw the level of play and dedication that she had, and it was just truly an inspiration to me. From there, of course, I went through all the basketball camps, the traditional route of playing basketball as a child, growing up around here. At one of those camps one summer at Bishop Eustace, I met a man named Gary LaProbola. He was one of the greatest impacts in my life, really. He unfortunately is not here with us today. So he recognized me kind of right from the start as someone who just had the determination and the desire to put in time. And from there, we spent countless hours training, working together in my game, my speed, strength, quickness. Anytime he was going anywhere to train people, I just wanted to go along. So he would pick me up, whether it was down at Middle Township or around here. I didn't care how long the car ride, but in those car rides, there was a lot of life lessons. I think I really wouldn't have had this success without him. So basketball had my heart from a pretty young age. I gave my all. I was determined to play that game at the next level. When I went to high school, Tom Mulligan, you all probably know. It was his first year coaching, and it was my freshman year. So we had a little journey together, I think, and we learned a lot. So one of the things that I learned along the way was that sometimes life takes a turn, and you have to listen to those who may be wiser. So one day, Joan Frankenfield, my field hockey coach, called me into her office, and she said, I know your love is basketball, but have you ever thought about playing field hockey in college? At that time, I really honestly hadn't. I was so focused on basketball. But I began to open my mind to that thought. And after several college visits for basketball, I started to really wonder if that was where my future should be. I made a visit to Syracuse and visited with the field hockey team. It was my only field hockey visit, and that's where I ended up. It felt like the right fit right from the start. The girls just welcomed me, and I felt that we had so many similarities. The basketball teams that I visited, I was much, much smaller than those girls. And so I really felt like Syracuse was the right place. And luckily, it was. I had a fantastic 4 years there and made some wonderful friends. But my greatest memories of sports don't include the number of goals that I scored or the points that I scored, or the games won or even awards earned. It was the dedication, the determination, and the discipline that I carry with me every day. It's the relationships that I developed with my coaches and my teammates, the places we traveled, the experiences on the bus rides that several people have mentioned today that I still hold with me. I want to thank, of course, my family and my friends for being here to support me today. My greatest success is, of course, my 3 children. I have 3 boys, Connor, Quinn, and Owen. And it's really fun to watch them grow and discover what their interests are. As a parent, it's really hard, I've learned, to sit on the sidelines and watch your child play a sport that you know something about. This year, I had the opportunity, my oldest son, Connor, is a freshman at Haddon Township, and he joined the crew team. And I know nothing about crew. It was the most enjoyable season I have witnessed so far. So it's just really an honor to be watching those boys grow up, be involved in their coaching, and to see what holds for them. Lastly, I just want to say that it's truly an honor to be here with so many other individuals who have had such a positive impact on Haddon Township and the athletic program. Thank you.
For the 2000s, our inductee today is Jennifer Stewart-Weitzel. It seems fitting to have Jennifer Stewart-Weitzel and Dawn Kennedy in the same induction class. For 27 years after Dawn led her team to the Group 2 South Jersey Championship softball title, Jen did the same. Jen was named captain in both her junior and senior years. In both those years, she was also voted first team All-Colonial Conference and All-South Jersey Group 2 catcher. In 2005, she played in the Carpenter Cup. And in 2006, she received Colonial Conference Sportsmanship Award, was named a South Jersey All-Star by the South Jersey Girls Softball Association, and was singled out as New Jersey All-State catcher. She went on to formidably play Division I softball at Rider University. Please welcome Jennifer Stewart-Weiser.
Thank you. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. Philippians 4:13. This is a photo frame my parents gifted me while I was in high school. It was always on display in my parents' living room throughout my softball career. I have to say, without the Lord's strength, I would not be here today. So to him be the glory. I would like to thank the Hall of Fame committee and each person that made tonight possible. Congratulations to the class 2023 of the Thieves. I would also like to thank my friends and family who came tonight to celebrate. My wonderful husband, Paul, and our 3 daughters, who you might hear some of them, so I apologize. Madeline, Carolyn, and Caitlin. My parents, Joan and Ken Stewart. My sister, Michelle. Her husband is actually with the Princeton basketball team, so he couldn't be here tonight. And her daughter, Teresa. My brother, Brian, his wife, Amanda, and son, Aiden. My mom, my Aunt Ruth, and Uncle Chaz, my friend Denise, and walking in the door, I almost fell over. My softball coach from Ryder came. So I could go on and on. When the comment was made about the CEO, the chair, Coach Carroll was our CEO. We showed up to morning workouts at I don't even know what time, and she would say, "It's a beautiful day, the sun is shining, we're here to play softball," and we would just look at her and be like, "Okay, here we go." But Coach, thank you so much for coming today. She also came to my wedding, and I'm like, why did you come and do things for me? But thank you. Like, I feel so honored. Yeah, and also, while we're on that note, Coach took a risk with me. I redshirted my first year at Ryder, and she made me a shortstop. So I spent my whole life in catcher. And quick story, I will never forget, we were playing Iona, and a ball went through my legs, and to this day, I can't let it down. We lost that game 1-0. So sorry, Coach, about that. Anyway, also, I want to thank those who couldn't be here today, including my oldest brother, Kenny, his wife, Stacy, and daughter, Skylar. Many people have impacted me along my softball career in different ways. I have to say I'm thankful for every interaction I had with teammates, coaches, umpires, opponents, friends, and family. Without each of those experiences, I wouldn't be who I am today. So thank you for how you helped me, shape me into my adult life. When it came to softball, my dad was my #1 teacher. When my dad would get home from a 14-hour workday, he always made time to work on technique and skill work with me. Sometimes we would practice in our basement on my brother's wrestling mat because my parents didn't only focus on my softball career, they focused on all 4 of their children's passions. Sometimes we would travel all over the state of New Jersey for private lessons. My parents would manage 3 games in one day for 3 different teams at 3 different locations, and many of you can probably relate to that. Giving up every weekend of their summer for tournaments. A highlight in the summer after a travel softball game and run and meet, we would stop at McDonald's and load up on 50-cent cheeseburgers to keep us awake for our drive back to Wildwood. That is where our family lived in the summers on a boat. Talk about living the dream. And you know, we had a couple of fields right by the beach that we would practice on. My dad would also pick me up from my summer job and then take me to the gym to get a workout in at 10 p.m. My parents would buy me top-of-the-line equipment, always making sure I had the best. Mom and Dad, thank you. But thank you for always running me to youth group from the field because you knew growing in my faith was priority. So much so, when I played for Ryder, my mom, dad, and husband led an Easter service for our team and families before a set of doubleheaders on Easter morning. Mom, thank you for letting Dad invest so much time into me. Something that we were and both still are so passionate about. None of this would have been possible assistant softball coach for Lancaster Bible College, and you would babysit. Now, coaching collegiate softball with my dad was such a huge dream come true. Dad, thank you for always sharing your wisdom and strategies of the game with me and loving me completely, even through all my mistakes. Although you were always so passionate about your kids excelling in sports or whatever we were passionate about, you were even more passionate about raising respectful children that knew how loved they were by their mom and dad. So that trumps all of this. I love growing up playing softball with my best friend, my twin sister, Michelle, who always had my back. Except for that one time when we got into a fist fight right outside the girls' locker room by the home rec room. I forget what teacher told us to stop. I would not be who I am today if I didn't have my constant best friend by my side since birth. So thank you for always cheering me on, for always pushing me to do better on the field. Now I have to admit that you did call that ball during the championship game against Overbrook. You were playing third base and I was catching. There was a foul ball on the third base line and I plowed her. You called the ball. Which one of us did catch the ball? She did. She caught the ball. As sisters and teammates, we were thrilled that we got the out. Also here tonight is another best friend, Amanda. Amanda was my college roommate, my softball teammate at Ryder, my workout buddy, my McFlurry buddy, my singing buddy, and anything I needed kind of buddy. Now, Coach, when we were doing No Sugar, Amanda and I might have snuck out for McFlurry. So sorry about that, too. She is now my sister-in-law. So thank you to my brother, Ryan, for marrying Ace, my Cali girl. Now I want to thank someone who invested in me a lot in high school. Someone who, if he wasn't your counselor, he would find time in his book schedule to make time for you. Alt was more than a coach.
For the 2010s, our inductee is Holly Gallagher. Holly was a rarely found prodigy, dominating the field in cross country and the pool in swimming. After 2 awesome years in cross country, which included a school 5K record and a team state championship and a seat on this all-South Jersey women's team, Holly turned her talents over to swimming full-time. For the 2007, 2008, and 2008-09 seasons, Holly was named MVP and broke the school records for 100 fly, 200 individual medley, and 200 freestyle. She qualified and swam in states during all 4 years on the team, was twice voted first team all-conference for the 100 fly, was elected to the all-South Jersey squad for the 50 free, and was named to the all-group swim team, and among other accolades and honors. Introduce Holly.
Hi everyone. First of all, I would like to sincerely thank everyone on the committee for thinking of me for this amazing recognition. It's truly such an honor to be standing up here today. I started playing sports for Haddon Township when I was 5 years old, and I continued until I graduated high school. Like most kids, I played pretty much every sport you could sign up for during those years. The first team that I actually ever joined was the Seahawks. The start to my swimming career wasn't actually because I asked to join the swim team, but because when we went over to a neighbor's house, my sister went into the water when no one was looking and almost drowned. The next day, my mom signed us up both for Seahawks. My first team was the Seahawks, and my first coach was Anthony Fitzpatrick, who is here today. Not only was he my first coach, but he was also the one to recommend winter swimming to my parents, which at the time they thought would be a nice little winter activity, but that was actually the beginning of a very long swimming career. Looking back, I can remember asking my parents to go to Crystal Lake Pool so that I could practice swimming laps, and I would ask them to take me to the high school track so that I could run. Even at a young age, I wanted to win at everything I did, no matter the activity. But I really want to say thank you to my parents. They were the ones who truly gave me the opportunity to be such a successful swimmer. They spent so much of their time driving multiple carpools and sitting through endless swim meets and practices that were probably about 110 degrees in the stands. Without the opportunity that they gave me, I would not be as successful as I was. I also want to thank and mention my sister Kelly, who was right alongside me for all of the practices, meets, and carpools. Doing it with Kelly made it part of both of our lives and something that we would be always going through together. The coaches that I had for Haddon Township made me want to run and swim for them. It wasn't just about competing or racing, but it was being a part of a team, which you don't always get with sports like running and swimming. Mrs. Smith, you were the first coach to make me think that there was another sport out there for me other than swimming. I really did struggle when I had to choose between swimming and running. Being a part of your team was so much fun, challenging, and I completely fell in love with the sport of running. Derm, not many people can make a high school practice start at 5 a.m. and somehow make everyone want to show up. My main swim event wasn't even part of the high school swim meets, but you made Haddon Township Swimming such a great team to be a part of that I wanted to swim anything I could to contribute so that I could be part of the team. When I started thinking back about my years, not only here at Haddon Township High School, but all of Haddon Township sports I participated in, I was reminded of all of the amazing teammates and coaches I got to meet along the way. What makes looking back at the practices, games, and bus rides so special is that so many of those people I started playing soccer with at age 7 are in this room. My coach at UConn had monthly team meetings, and every time he would exclaim that life is like a three-legged stool. All 3 legs of the stool have to be the same for the stool to be sturdy and strong. He would say that while you're here at UConn, you have to balance school, swimming, and your social life. If you are lacking in one of those areas, you aren't going to be as strong, stable, and successful as you could be. He would say that one day you will look back at your time here at UConn and you'll never swim at that one meet, but you will remember those amazing memories you made with the teammates that are surrounding you. Stepping back and reflecting on these words, I realized how great he was. The friends that I made during my time here and the family who was there every step of the way are in this room, and I have made so many more memories with them since taking off the HTHS uniform. I knew I was going to stumble over that. Thank you to everyone who made my love of sports such an incredible experience. Thank you.
Our final inductee of the night is Lynn Spina. Lynn Spina taught health and physical education at Haddon Township for over 13 years and 23 more at Catholic schools. At Haddon Township, she was assistant field hockey coach from 1966 to 1967, freshman hockey coach from 1967 to 1979, assistant girls basketball coach 1966 to 1967, varsity and JV basketball coach from 1967 to 1975, girls tennis coach in 1967, and assistant bowling coach from 1977 to 1978. Like many here at the beginning of our school's history, she filled multiple roles, and she was someone around whom what we can now refer to as our legacy began. Men's basketball team won the Colonial Conference Championship in 1968 to 69, won the Christmas tournament at Paul VI in the season 71-72, and was invited to participate in the inaugural state basketball tournament semifinal game in that same 71-72 season. Please welcome Lynn Spina.
Thank you also to Joan Frankfield and Sue Tharp for their guidance. I would like to also congratulate my fellow inductees, especially Dawn Kennedy, who plays goalkeeper on the freshman hockey team. When I told my husband about being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I said, "What am I going to say?" He said, "You like to talk. You like to say something." Well, I really don't like to talk this much. So I decided to talk about girls and young women's sports when I was playing and coaching field hockey and basketball in the late 50s. You can be able to guess how old I am. 60s and 70s. I grew up in Mount Ephraim, and there were no sports for girls at that time. Nothing. There was no physical education class, either because there was no all-purpose ring or no gymnasium. We did not know we were missing anything. The closest thing I had to a sport was our neighbor's backboard and hoop nailed to a tree. They didn't have those big fancy basketball things. The very first day at Baltimore High School, my friend from Mount Ephraim said, "I'm going out for field hockey today." I am not even sure that I knew what field hockey was, but I was going out too. Freshman girls arrived at many high schools with absolutely no skills or knowledge of the game, but they were so determined and eager to play. There were 2 female physical education teachers who coached all 3 sports, basketball, softball, and hockey, and they whipped us into shape. There were no shin guards or mouthpieces at that time. Players were expected to learn to move their feet out of the way to avoid advancing the ball with their feet, shins, or body, which was a violation of the rules. My friend who said she was going out for field hockey lost her 2 front teeth on a ball kicked up by the goalkeeper. There were no implants at that time, just false teeth. The game was played on a grass field with all of its bumps and divots. Quite a few schools now have turf fields, including Haddon Township. Some of the rules of the game from that time were your stick could not be raised above your waist. You could not place your body between the ball and your opponent. It had to be played between the two of you. If the ball went out of bounds on the sideline, it was rolled in. And Dawn can attest to this. The goalkeepers had very little protection. Very thin pads, nothing for their head, nothing for their face. Did you wear a little mouth guard? None of that either. After college, I started teaching and coaching at Haddon Township High School. I was an assistant to Jenny Capano, coaching the 7th, 8th, and freshman teams, hockey teams. There was still no place to learn how to play hockey before junior and senior high school. There was a lot of stick work, strategy, rules, and stamina to be developed. Girls were so eager to participate in sports that they came out with a lot of enthusiasm and desire to learn the game. The freshmen had practice and games 3 days a week, and the 7th and 8th grade practiced the other 2. A picture in the 1972 yearbook shows 53 girls on the 7th and 8th grade team. I had said to Joan when I showed her that picture, I said, "Where did we get all those sticks?" She said, "I think we got them out of the barrel that was in the locker room." I learned to play basketball in high school with 6 players, not 5. Players were not allowed to cross the center line. There were 3 defensive players, or guards, at one end of the court to prevent the other team's offense or forwards from scoring. At the opposite end were your 3 forwards, or offensive players, with the other team's guards or defense. You could only dribble twice. By passing and using 2 dribbles, you could advance the ball to your teammates. If you were a defensive player, your job was to get the ball across the center line to your offense. We learned to shoot a layup using 2 dribbles. Eventually, 3 dribbles were allowed. There was no small ball. It was the same size as the boys used. Baskets counted as 2 points. There were no 3-point shots at that time. Probably it was about the mid-1980s. There was also no weight room for the girls to use. Are you confused by the rules yet, especially in basketball? Well, it gets more confusing. Just before I started coaching basketball, to start the transition to 5-player basketball, 2 rovers were added who were allowed to cross the center line. There were 2 offensive rovers and 2 defensive rovers. When the ball changed teams, the rovers started moving across the center line, so you had 4 people moving at that time, 2 from each team. You ended up with a 5-on-5 game. If the best possession changed to the other team, the reverse happened. There were so many girls who came out for basketball at that time that we had to have tryouts and cuts. Again, a lot of teaching of skills. The rules changed by regions across the country at different times. Locally, the 1970-1971 season was the beginning of 5-on-5. This was a big learning curve for everyone. Not only the players, but also the coaches, female coaches. We played 6-on-6. There were 2 girls during the 70s who were 1,000-point scorers. There was no 3-point shot. There were only 14 games a season. And I'm going to mention the 2. Luann Ashman was small but quick. We pressed, and she stole the ball for layups, and also had a shot that would have qualified for a 3-pointer. The other is Jerry Bradley. Jerry Bradley was taller and scored a lot of her points inside. There were no official sectional or state playoffs at that time. So in this reminiscing, I wondered, how did these rules start? They started in small towns in Iowa in 1934. Girls were considered to be too delicate to play the game that the boys played, or the game was too strenuous to be played by girls. The very popular in Iowa and a big moneymaker. When television started, the annual girls tournament 6-on-6 games were televised for a week with a draw of 5 million watchers over 9 states. In 1972, Title IX changed that. In 1983, there were girls who wanted to play 5-on-5 like the boys, not 6-on-6. They felt their chances to play in college would be greater. It was decided that the schools could choose which to play. 6-to-6, which this part amazed me, 6-on-6 continued for a while because it was more popular. The first 5-on-5 championship game was played in 1985, and the last 6-on-6 was 1993. Now you have to keep in mind we were too delicate, but meanwhile on the East Coast we were running up and down hockey fields like you wouldn't believe. I don't know how many hockey fields would fit on, how many basketball courts would fit on a hockey field, but it would sure be a great number. Pat Summitt, legendary coach of Tennessee, played 6-on-6 and had to teach her team how to play 5-on-5. Girls and young women have made great strides. Just look at the NCAA tournament going on now. These ladies are very skilled. They have proven that they are not too delicate to play 5-on-5. I would like to mention my family, my daughter Elizabeth, my husband David, my son Brian, David's mother Susan, my 2 sisters-in-law, Linda and Dorothy, my nephew Chris, who rescued me with the printer yesterday, and Tom and Janet, and also my husband Tom. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It was truly a great honor.
About reached the end of our program, but we have one more round of applause for all and we greatly appreciate your comments. We greatly appreciate what we've been able to learn from you, just about your lives and about what has meant something to you. One thing that I kept hearing was simply a love for striving for excellence, and the fact that that effort happened with people that you could come to love. So thank you very much for that. These are our inductees for this year. If you are interested in making nominations, please visit our athletic page on our district or school website. We also have there with the bylaws the process we follow in selections, which we adhere to religiously. And with that, I would like to ask Pastor Thatcher to come up and provide us with benediction.
One of the highlights was the young athletes that were here that had the rewards, but then just seeing a lot of the young people. So if you're young by age, not in spirit, just please stand up for a second. I knew there was stand up, stand up. All right, hold on. Now all the young people stand up. Come on. Everybody. This is to make my Catholic friends comfortable. There wasn't much standing up and down, so I just want to share one thing. No, in all seriousness, I asked everyone to stand up because I think we're going to stand for God Bless America. By you standing, I would keep it short. The one thing I've learned over time that young people hate to be asked is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Especially when they don't know. I don't know if the counselor experiences that or not. But I am convinced that our young people that came before us today are just going to be incredible. I'm so excited and proud to be a resident of Haddon Township. But if I could just share one piece of advice, if I could bottle one moment up that really sums up to me what the meaning of life is when Jennifer said to Coach Opt, how much that you meant to her. Like, I don't care what you give back in sports, whether it's a full-time college position, whether it's volunteering, whether it's high school. There is nothing greater in life than to pour in to someone else. And the reason I am a man of faith is because I met a person, I met a Lord that desires to continue to pour into us. As a matter of fact, he says, I've come to give life and give it overflowing and give it abundantly. We are all blessed by leaving here knowing that we've been in the presence of greatness, thankfulness, and good mentors. God bless.
Singing God Bless America, Noah Clapper.